Why does Africa, despite its many regional blocs, still lack a coherent regional agricultural policy? Food trade barriers, fragmented input markets, and diverging subsidy regimes persist. The issue is not an absence of frameworks. It is sovereignty-driven policy, weak enforcement, and fragmented market institutions. A functioning regional agricultural policy requires harmonized input subsidies, coordinated seed regulation, cross-border trade facilitation, shared phytosanitary standards, and interoperable data systems. In practice, this implies a partial pooling of agricultural sovereignty. This is the first and most formidable structural barrier. African states retain strong control because agriculture is politically vital. Food prices affect urban stability, subsidies are powerful electoral tools, and rural constituencies are domestically embedded. This creates policy sovereignty rigidity, leaving agriculture as one of the least integrated domains across regional blocs. The problem is compounded by institutional fragmentation. Africa's regional architecture is a web of overlapping organizations: ECOWAS, EAC, SADC, COMESA, and IGAD. This creates duplicated frameworks, inconsistent enforcement, and competing trade rules. The result is institutional layering without consolidation. This brings us to coordination failure. There are no unified input markets, logistics infrastructure remains weak, and even when tariffs are reduced, non-tariff barriers persist. Border delays, inconsistent standards, and ad hoc export bans. The problem is not policy design, it is implementation capacity across borders. The political economy of food trade restrictions is the definitive obstacle. When shortages loom, governments impose export bans or sudden tariff changes to protect citizens. These actions, while politically expedient, undermine regional predictability and destroy the trust necessary for a functioning market. So why has regional policy been so consistently weak? 3 structural constraints dominate. First, regional bodies lack coercive enforcement tools. Second, national governments can easily override regional commitments. And third, states gain politically from domestic control, but lose little from regional non-compliance. Enter the African Continental Free Trade Area. AfCFTA provides a single continental trade framework, tariff reduction commitments, and dispute resolution mechanisms. World Bank estimates suggest it could significantly increase intra-African trade, particularly in processed goods and agriculture. However, its impact depends on implementation depth. How could AfCFTA improve integration? Through 4 channels: tariff harmonization, predictable trade rules, market scale expansion, and pressure for regulatory convergence. Yet, AfCFTA faces constraints. Enforcement remains state-dependent, non-tariff barriers dominate, and infrastructure gaps limit physical integration. AfCFTA reduces tariff barriers more effectively than it resolves implementation and governance constraints. It is a powerful tool for tariff reduction, but it is not a panacea for the deeper issues of state capacity. The absence of a strong regional agricultural policy is not a design failure. It is the outcome of sovereignty-centered politics, weak supranational enforcement capacity, fragmented regional institutions, and persistent coordination failures across borders. AfCFTA does not eliminate these constraints. It partially reconfigures the landscape, but the deeper political economy of food sovereignty endures. The path forward requires building enforcement capacity, not just signing frameworks.